Welcome to Coffee with Patti. I'm here with Robyn Hyden. She's my next guest, and I met her through my good friend Christy. That was my second episode on Coffee with Patti. So I'm really excited to talk about everything and find out more about Robyn. So hi, Robyn. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great. And where are you right now?
I am in Franklin, Tennessee.
Franklin, Tennessee. I was just traveling down Sunset to get here today in Hollywood, so West Hollywood.
Yep, that used to be my neck of the woods. I remember driving around Sunset Boulevard, lived in the Valley for 16 years.
16 years. What part of the Valley?
I lived in Sherman Oaks.
Sherman Oaks. Yep, it's pretty close to here. Great.
Yep, very. Well, it seems like it's very close, except it would take you an hour
to get there right now.
5 miles.
Right at the moment, it would take an hour, for sure.
For sure.
So let's just dive right in. I just wanted to get to know you, for everyone to get to know you and your life before.
Yeah, I will. I grew up in Mission Viejo, California. My parents and I and my two brothers moved there in 1980. And I lived there, went to college in San Diego, where I met my husband. We met in 1990, but we didn't start dating until 1994. And then we've been together ever since. So we've been married this June. It was 24 years.
24 years. Congratulations.
24 years.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, so he played volleyball. He was a two-time Olympian, played in the 96 and 2000 Olympics. And then we landed in Sherman Oaks when he decided he was going to transition from playing indoor to the beach volleyball scene, where he made a name for himself as a legend out there, being the oldest player ever to win a volleyball tournament on the domestic tour at the age of 46 years, 9 months, 22 days. Yeah.
That's really great. That's really great. My daughter's good friend is a Olympian. He went to UCLA and he played in the Olympics too. So I'm sure he'll be interested in hearing about your husband. And what's your husband's name?
I was going to say, I'm sure he knows of my husband.
Yeah, he probably does.
Yeah, John Hyden.
John Hyden. Okay. Do you play volleyball?
Well, I played volleyball in college at San Diego State. I did not ever play on the beach scene. That's a lot harder than the indoor.
I bet.
For sure. But then, we got married in 2001. We lived in Sicily for, I think it was like 7 months. He played professionally overseas. And then we moved to Sherman Oaks, where he decided to start playing on the beach scene. And we bought a condo up in the Valley where we had 2 kids. I had my daughter, Samantha, was born in 2006. And then my son, Jackson, was born in 2013.
Oh, okay. And they were born in Sherman Oaks?
Yes. I was 34 when I had my daughter. I was 41 when I had my son.
Okay. That's about me with my kids. About the same thing.
Yeah. Like, I don't think me as a parent at 20 was the best idea.
Me either. Very true.
I was still growing up myself. But then we, in 2018, we moved to Franklin, Tennessee.
And how do you like it there?
We absolutely love it. It was the best decision to make. My husband, we knew that eventually he was going to be wrapping up his, volleyball career. And we thought, let's try and get out of California. It was just getting really expensive, and we lived in a 2-bedroom condo, with 2 kids. It was like we needed to, we wanted to be able to buy a house. And in 2018, the market was pretty good in Tennessee. It has now since gone through the roof, right? For people that are trying to move here. But it was the best move for our family. We now have a beautiful home in a place called Ladd Park, in Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how close is that to Nashville? Like most people know where Nashville is. How close is Franklin to Nashville, would you say?
We're about 25 minutes.
Okay.
It's almost like 20 miles, 25 miles. Yeah. It's so funny because coming from California, when you come to Tennessee and you talk about how far things are, we're so used to in California, you talk in time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter. You tell somebody something's 5 miles away, that could take an hour.
It could.
So here, when I ask people like, how far is the Costco? And people would then ask, I'm like asking them how far something is. And they tell me 7 miles. I'm like, how long does that take to get there? And they're like, I don't know, 10 minutes. Like, yeah. And then they realize anybody that asks how long it took to get somewhere, they're like, you're from California.
You're from California. Yep.
Yeah. That's how the people in Tennessee figured that out. Yeah.
So are you wearing boots? Do you have your cowboy boots and cowboy hat and stuff?
It's the funniest thing because, like, I thought the same thing coming here. Nobody wears boots or hats here at all. No.
Okay.
It's all that's how you know who the tourists are.
Oh, because
they're the ones that show up with the hats and the boots. Yeah.
Okay.
It is. It's so funny.
That is. That so makes funny. Sense. Yeah. So,
yeah.
So how old are your kids? And right now?
So in, let's see, my daughter was 17. So my daughter passed away in February of 24. And then my son is 12 and a half.
12 and a half now. Okay.
Yes, he's in 7th grade. Yeah. So my daughter was just about to graduate high school, when she passed.
Well, did you want to talk about that? Like, life before Sam, life after Sam? I mean, did we talk enough about before, or did you want to talk a little bit more about before everything happened, just to give a...
No, I mean, I think that was, that was really just like the timeline of it all. Yeah, I mean, it's like, when I think of, it's so funny because that's exactly like how I think of my life now is like the way I was before she passed and like how things are now. Right. It's always the before and after. No, I feel good to just dive into it. If that's the direction we want to go.
Let's go. Yep.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I know you're here for it.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, tell me about the day before.
February 20th,
yes.
2024 was, it was wild because I've always thought of life as like, I don't know, I think as a child growing up, I was always terrified or afraid of like my dad dying. I don't know why. When my dad, I just remember sitting on the stairs crying when my dad turned 40. Like that was so old. He's going to die soon.
He's going to die.
And I think just growing up, I always had this fascination with, death for some reason. So I always wanted to pride myself on making sure that like I lived life, and didn't take things for granted. That was like something and my husband and I both, like, even like the little moments with our kids was just like, none of this, don't take any of this for granted. So the day before was just, like you think of it as just like any other day. Before going to bed, I used to like go and lay down with my son before he would, as he would like fall asleep. And so it became like just a habit and a ritual that was like, I would take my son upstairs. My daughter would lay in bed with my husband and, she would wait for me to come downstairs. Or if I fell asleep, she would come upstairs, tell me, Jack's asleep, you're asleep, go downstairs. And then we'd say goodnight. I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom and I just looked out at the bed and my husband was under the covers with both the kids. And, he was just smiling. He just had this grin on his face. And I remember I just looked at him and I was like, I don't know how it gets any better. Like we have a 17-year-old daughter that loves to be with us. We have a 10-year-old that wants to just be with his sister all the time, and she's tolerant of him. And so like we were just this really close-knit family. And I just remember like I was picking Jack up to go to bed and he went around and hugged everybody and said, good night, I love you. And then, probably like, I think it was like around 11 o'clock, she came into Jack's room and got me. And she's like, Mom, he's asleep. You can go to bed. And I do remember like, she said, will you wake me up in the morning? And I said, yes. And she hugged me. She said, I love you. And I was like, and I just remember I like hugged her so tight. I mean, of course, in hindsight, I really wish I would have like hugged her for longer if I knew it was going to be the last one. But I remember even just like thinking of like just hugging her that last time and saying, I love you. And then, I said, because she had said she didn't feel well, earlier in the day, but she had some like fettuccine Alfredo that I think was just like too much. It was too rich or something, and I asked her like, do you still have a stomach ache? She's like, no, it's better. I'm just really tired. And then she went to bed and I went downstairs. Afterwards, like I had checked her phone, like I'd seen she had been texting with her boyfriend, and saying she was wearing something. It was going to be a surprise. And
like
then
the next day she was wearing something that was going to be a surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, she was just saying, because he asked her what she was going to wear, and she's like, I'm going to surprise you. And she did. She had it laid out on her bed, like what she was going to wear the next day. Yeah, which was really sweet, because he asked me, was there an outfit laid out? And he said yes. And I told him yes. But yeah, Jackson had gotten up for school, and I said, did you get your sister up? And he said no. And I went upstairs, and and normally it's like I could hear her alarm going off, and I heard the alarm was going off. She'd blare it. It would be just right next to her head. She's sound asleep, and I would open the door, and as soon as the door would creak, she would jump up, and it was like, okay, I'm up now. And so when I opened the door and I looked, she, didn't move. So I walked in and I just kind of like tapped the bed a little bit, and she didn't move. And I pulled the blankets down a little bit, and she was just like on her side with her hands underneath her face, kind of in that like fetal position. But I could see her eyes were like open, halfway open, just like looking blankly. And I was like, I screamed. Yeah. And I was like, Sam, and I was like trying to just like shake her and wake her up. And I was like, oh my God, I could feel like she was gone.
You could feel it.
Like when I go back to that day and I really think about it, like I knew she was gone.
Right away.
I could just tell, and it was like, I could just sense that the soul was not there, that would like, it's like I knew she was already had gone, and I knew that too much time had passed. My husband felt like, so I had to jump off the bed and run, because I knew that if I screamed, they wouldn't hear me. The house where they were, part of the house they were in was too far away. So I had to run to the stairs. I screamed for my son, tell Dad to call 911.
Oh boy.
And then my husband came running upstairs, and he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, she's not breathing. And, so the 911 operator was like, put me on speakerphone. Like, we have to go through, we're doing CPR. And I just remember the paramedics getting there. They were like trying to ask us all kinds of questions. Could she have taken drugs? All these different things. And she wasn't on drugs. We didn't think, she, even though they gave her Narcan and they did the whole thing, which I understand that they have to, but I was like, I know it's none of that. But yeah, I mean, my husband and I were like having to perform CPR for the 6 minutes or 5, whatever it was, till they got there. And then they took her, to the emergency room. I had to call everybody, I had to call my parents who were down the street. I called my younger brother, my best friend. They all came to the hospital, and the whole morning was just like very surreal.
Oh, I bet.
I remember when the parent, my husband is like screaming at the bedroom door, screaming for her to come back. I was screaming or begging for her to come back before the paramedic came. And I remember I went out, and my son Jackson was like, Mom, she's not dead. She's not going to die. Oh. And I just remember I was praying to God. I was like, I don't want this to be my life. Like, this can't be my life. Right. This is not going to be my life. But it was like, Patti, I knew. I'm like, this is my life. This is happening. This is happening. And we got to the hospital, and the doctor came out, and he was like, it's been 45 minutes and we're still, she's not showing, there's no brain activity yet. And my mom and my husband were, neither one of them was going to be able. They looked at me. The doctors looked at me like, "We'll continue this until you say no." Mm-hmm. And they kept begging me to let them continue.
And did you?
I just remember and I did for a few more minutes. And I went in there and I just looked at her again, and I was just like, I'm going to have to be the one to make peace with this right now. And, I had to tell the doctors, like, yes, we can call this. And then,
oh boy,
walked out and had to, tell my mom was standing there. My son was standing there, and he was like, Mom, did she make it? And I was like, I said, no, baby, she didn't.
So did you take the ambulance there? Did you go in the ambulance with her?
I didn't go in the ambulance. They just told us to follow them. But it was so surreal, Patti, because they brought her downstairs and they got her in the ambulance, but they didn't take off. It wasn't like the sirens were going and stuff. And I meant my husband is like, what is going on? Like, why are they not leaving? And it was like, I'm outside, they're in the ambulance and I'm just standing there, and neighbors are asking me what's going on. And I'm walking my dog, and just out in the front, the whole thing was just so surreal that I'm like, is this really real life? And people were texting me, is everything okay? And I'm like, no, everything is not okay. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. Sam was not responsive this morning. We're going to the hospital. And it's like, what? And it's just one of those, does this really happen to people? Is this really how it happens? You're just so caught off guard. And it's this is, so yeah, having to leave the hospital without my daughter was one of the most, it's just those moments in your life that you're just like, how is this happening in my life? How is this going to be my story? And it's just coming home and just sitting there with all these people, and they're looking at you, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I mean, what do you do?
What do you do?
It's the things that transpired after that. My son had a basketball game. He was playing in the semifinals that night, and after I came out and told him that she didn't make it, he hugged me and he was crying, and everybody was just obviously really sad and in disbelief. And he just said to me, he's like, Mom, I want to play in my game tonight. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And everyone was like, what do you mean? I said, if he wants to play in his game, he's going to play. I'm going.
He probably needed to, huh?
Huh?
He probably needed to. He needed just to run.
I think, yes. And the crazy thing is, 2 or 3 days prior, he had watched a video of Isaiah Thomas, who played for the Celtics, not the Detroit Pistons, but the Celtics. And his sister died before he had to play in a game. Oh. And he ended up having, and his whole team was like, you don't have to play. You don't have to play. We understand. And he's like, no, I have to play. I'm playing for her. Mm-hmm. And he went out and he had one of his best games ever. And so my son had said to us that he wanted to play in this game. And he went out, and Sam, my daughter's boyfriend, had come with me. My best friend had come with me, and we watched him play. He had one of the best games he's ever played. And he actually even made a buzzer beater at halftime where he just threw the ball up at half court, and he turned to me and John and just went, and he pointed to the sky.
Maybe she gave him an assist. Maybe she helped him with that basket.
Yeah, I mean, it was just surreal. And then I had seen days later, the video was in my history, and I said to Jackson, I'm like, did you play in this game because of Isaiah Thomas? And he goes, yeah. Oh. He goes, yeah, I wanted to play for Sam. Yeah, so we ended up reaching out to Isaiah Thomas, on Instagram, not expecting anything, but just wanted to tell him, you influenced and inspired my son in one of the most amazing ways, and we just thought you should know. And he reached back out and was so sweet, and just gave a little shout out to Jack, and talked to him, which was really cool. I mean, really Isaiah Thomas was, yeah.
That's really cool.
But yeah, I think so many things. It's just like losing a child. Like you just don't even know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so many different thoughts and feelings, and it's just like, watching, my husband hurting.
Oh.
It was probably the most difficult, I think. I can handle my own grief. I can handle, but watching my husband, who the minute that child was born, I mean, his whole life changed. His whole being, his whole purpose in life just became, being a dad to this little girl, and I think, she changed him, I mean, I've known him since he was 17 years old, and it's, to see the change in him after she was born, when both my kids were born, there's just something that, he was just a changed man for sure.
Especially with their little girls.
Yeah. And they were one of those, they had that father-daughter relationship that I think all girls want to have a father like this who just, it's like, she's got to go to the grocery store. He's like, I'll come with you. And they just spent just those little moments, It was almost like he knew he had to get all those little moments with her.
Somehow. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, as tragic and as devastating it definitely brought mine and my husband's marriage closer.
Yeah.
Which, we have found, being in this terrible group of parents that have lost children, it's something that can just tear a marriage apart.
Yeah.
Because we grieve differently. My husband and I grieve completely differently. He's trying to compartmentalize everything. I'm just a loose cannon, and I just let everything, come out. I'm here for the journey of it. And I think, also being a massage therapist by trade, has been very beneficial with just my journey in all of this. It's because of my spirituality and, spiritual advisors that I surround myself with. Have definitely been a huge, huge part of my healing.
I bet.
And that I think now, my husband is looking more to me for that type of, for looking towards spirit, looking towards that path of, because I was raising my kids to believe, thinking that I was going to go first because that's the natural order.
Right.
That there is no death. Right? Like that's where I really want, you can't destroy energy, and like our souls, where we come from and where we return to, and that this is just this physical 3D reality that we're all living in and we get to be a part of, and it really is just a short amount of time. It's really not that long.
Yeah.
And, we get to have all of these experiences, the good ones, the bad ones, they're all just experiences. And I just remember trying to teach my kids of like, when I die, it's just my body that's leaving. It's not me that's leaving. And you're going to get signs from me, you'll, whatever it may be. So then when it was my daughter that went first, and then it was me having to now deal with that, that was a little bit of a shocker of like, well, this isn't what I wanted. This is not fair. And this is not what I signed up for. And I, being in the spirit realm, and having my spirituality, like I reached out to spiritual advisors of mine and mentors of mine reached out and gave me some people to talk to, some psychic mediums. I have an amazing Akashic record reader. They're all my friends now. I consider them my friends. Like we became close after all of this. That was just all part of my healing and part of my journey. And talking with them completely made a difference in the way that I was grieving, in the way that I was healing through this, and being able to feel my daughter's presence, which I feel like is getting stronger and stronger by the day, for sure.
I'm sure she's so proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is one of my things is that I really want, like, the path that I'm choosing, even though it's not, I tell myself this is not the path that anybody would choose. However, my Akashic record reader would tell me different, that these were contracts that we decided upon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I go along with that yes, this is something that I decided upon so that I could level up my spirituality and my evolvement, in this spiritual being. I just want to make sure that when I'm reunited with Sam, that she can look at me and just be like, "You did it, Mom."
Yeah.
You're helping people by showing them that there's still life after loss. And
right.
if people lose loved ones all the time, right? You lose a sibling, which I know you've lost your sisters, or a friend that, Christy lost her husband.
Yeah.
But it's like the loss of a child is like, I don't know how it gets worse.
Right. It can't get worse than that.
And if you can still find, your purpose through that pain, then it's like, then you can get through this.
You can.
And I feel like that's where my message is coming from, is that I know that that's what she wants me to be helping people understand, that it is a choice. It's a choice to either stay in bed and not get up and not participate in life anymore. And let me tell you, I don't think anyone would blame a mom for not wanting to get out of bed.
No, I remember the first time I talked to you, you were like, my daughter wouldn't want to see me crying in bed. She'd want me to go on with my life. Yeah. And so you're doing it for her and for your son, because your son's still here, your husband's still here. How's your husband doing?
Say that again?
How's your husband doing? Is he doing okay?
Yeah. I think that he looks to me for a lot of his. I was really trying when he would go through. We would kind of go through these different times together. There'd be times when I'm down and he's up, and he doesn't feel her presence in the same way that I do. I feel her presence in the sense of like this, she'll pop into my head and I'll look at the clock and it's like 11:11, or a song comes on, and it's like, and that I can feel like a vibration almost like that. You get those goosebumps, like that chill of like, oh, that's her. He doesn't get those all the time. And so he always looks to me for where is our level of emotionality today, and it's like, I had to when he gets down and I can see it in his face that he's having a really bad day, I would want to change it, and like help him get out of it. Whereas I've finally learned that it's like, that's not my job.
Right.
Like, he's got to find his own way. I can be here to support him and hold his hand, but I can't be the reason that he continues, or I'm not fixing him. And he's even said to me, I don't want you to fix me. Like, right. And that was really beautiful to be able to just sit in grief for days together and not trying to fix each other. And
you have enough of your own pain. You don't need to take his too, because that would be too much, way too much to bear.
Yeah.
What about Jackson? How's he doing?
To be honest, I think between the three of us, he's doing the best.
Oh.
It's really interesting because when she first passed and I was explaining to him about getting signs from her, and talking to her. And I think that he talks to her more than he lets us know.
Oh.
I think he's sad. He misses her, but he was 10 when it happened. And he's a little bit on the spectrum, super high functioning. You would never even know that he is on the spectrum. Doesn't have that super sensitive emotional side to him. But I feel like it was something that he was able to just kind of, okay, well, this is now the next part of my life without my sister, and that he was able to just kind of move on. I think his age, I think being on the spectrum were just layers that protected him. But what's crazy for me is like, I'm watching, because I've even talked to some psychic mediums, and my friend Wendy, the Akashic record reader, was saying how Sam really feels like she's having a much bigger impact on my life, on John's life, on Jack's life by being in spirit, that she felt like she was willing to leave, almost like to say for the greater good of like our soul's journey here, that she was going to have a bigger impact. And I'm watching my relationship with my son has completely transformed.
It has.
There's so much of her that's starting to come out in him. Mm. I don't know if it's just because of age, because now he's 12. But there's just like my bond with him has just gotten so much stronger over the last 19 months. That's the part that I'm now like, there's just little things that, he kind of will have a meltdown about something, and then immediately will, turn around and be like, I'm sorry. And whereas before it was like, he would have these crazy tantrums that now there's just a little bit like, he'll come in and be just like, I'm so sorry, Mom. I shouldn't have talked to you like that, which for me, I'm like, definitely that is Sam teaching him like, hey, that's not okay. You have to go back in there and you have to apologize to them. Watch how your life will change if you go back and apologize.
Well, I remember Christy saying that her daughter didn't act like she was really affected by her dad dying. And then she found out she's talking to him all the time. So maybe your son is talking to her all the time too.
I introduced her to my friend Deanna, that was like, oh yeah, Callie sees Rick all the time. That I was like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
It is. They're so close. I think we just have to really listen for them and just have the quiet time.
Sorry. My son had to do homework, and I have his.
I wouldn't mind seeing him. Do you want to put him on? Or does he feel like being on?
Jackson, come here. I know. I was going to ask you if you wanted me to like send you pictures of like.
Yeah. Please send pictures. I have some pictures. You had sent me pictures, and I took pictures of you in this beautiful one.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Patti.
He can't hear you. You're in my ear.
Oh, okay. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
Hi, you're on my podcast. Coffee with Patti.
You're on Patti's podcast. This is Jackson. He is 12.
He's 12. Okay, that went out a little bit.
There you go.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very nice to meet you. You're a good-looking kid.
Very nice to meet you too.
You have a good night.
Okay. Go get your homework.
Yep, you too.
Okay, take care. Yeah, why not?
I mean, why not? He's going to be like, I was on a podcast last night. I love that picture.
Yeah, I love that. She's an angel. She's so beautiful, and so are you. You guys are both very beautiful. I love this one with the butterflies.
That was at the celebration of my life for my best friend after she passed.
Oh.
The woman that planned my daughter's funeral died of cancer 7 months later.
7 months later. That's tough.
It was wild. But yeah, that picture of Sam with the wings. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks before Sam died, my good friend Megan was sharing her near-death experience with Sam.
Oh, really?
And she, which is wild, and she drew this picture and said, I have this, you put a picture up of your daughter, and that was the picture that came to my dream a few days after Sam had passed.
Oh, wow.
And she said, and I see her, there's like these angel wings. Like, and so I was like, I don't know what you mean. She goes, and so she just drew it on like, on the iPhone. She just drew it and sent me a photo of it. And I was like, oh my God.
She drew this picture?
Yeah. Well, like she just drew the wings on.
Oh.
Cause that was my daughter's, one of her senior photos.
Oh.
But then that was the one that my friend Megan was like, she came to me like in a soul visit, which I believe when loved ones come to dreams, it's actually a soul visit, not necessarily a dream. That was what she looked like. And she goes, this picture, because she hadn't seen that picture. She was like trying to describe to me that she's like, your daughter's like in this green dress. She's like, and I showed her this picture. And then as soon as she saw the picture, she goes, this is it. She said, except she had these white wings on her. So she drew that and sent it to me. And I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Wow, that is crazy. That's really cool. Well, she's so beautiful. And I feel like she's so strong, her spirit is so strong and you're so strong. So what would you say to another mother that went through something like this? Because didn't you say you did the autopsy, they have no cause of death?
None.
How could that be? There's no cause of what happened to her. So how could you?
I mean, I think which is so crazy because it's like, I joined a mom group. It's, moms that have lost kids. It's a group, obviously, you never want to be a part of.
Right.
But there's so many different variables and circumstances for everybody's child that passed, so it's like everybody's grief journey is different, and for John and I, there was no explanation. Right. So which it definitely makes it harder, but at the same time, it wasn't suicide. It wasn't drugs. It wasn't, an accident. And it's like, for us, listening to my friend Wendy, who does the Akashic Records, that it was like, this was her time.
Yeah. So no pain, nothing. She just passed away.
No, there was absolutely no pain. Yeah. And even every psychic that I have spoken to has said, like, she said there was no pain. She was confused about where she was at first. And then my grandmother showed up and she was like, oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
And apparently she really is enjoying being dead.
I hear it's good up there. That's what
That's what I'm hearing too. Everybody said, people that have had these near-death experiences, like my friend Megan, she did not want to come back. She was like, no, she was like running towards the light to stay. And there was a voice behind it that said, no, you're going back. And she said she felt like she went through a washing machine and her legs threw up and she was back. And she said, no, this is not where I wanted to be. It's amazing.
Way better up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like to other moms, I try to make myself available. I do have like some friends that I still like we rendezvous and share our meetings with our psychics and stuff and just, seeing who we're liking and, who was right on. And, I feel like there's, I've been told people are saying like they're inspired by me, seeing me on this journey. And it's like my husband and I still find reasons to laugh. In the beginning, it's really weird when you start to laugh about something or you start to be joyful about something, you feel guilty. And that's a really weird thing of like, how could I be laughing or how could I be having fun, in the absence of my daughter.
Right.
But then there really comes that piece of understanding where she is and that she's still very present with me. If I talk to her every single day, and then now because you and I talked a little while ago, and I really have started doing more of like the automatic writing, have started doing like more meditations. She comes and talks to me now through like, there's songs, I'll see a license plate, somebody's name pops up into my head, like, and all of a sudden I'm now piecing this like matrix together, and I'm like, oh, she wants me to watch, like, and I can start, like, I started being able to do that recently.
That's great.
Been
very helpful.
That's been really fun and very helpful when I hear songs, or like I'll feel myself in a mood, and then all of a sudden it's like the song Tiny Dancer comes on. That's a song that was playing when we were driving to the hospital to deliver her. You know, Tiny Dancer came on the radio, so that became, we were like, oh my God, this is her song. So my husband, it's the same thing. Like he goes through these things, and she is like on time. Like, we'll be thinking about her. We'll just like make some joke or laugh about her. And then all of a sudden he'll turn the radio on and Tiny Dancer's on.
Wow.
And it's like, she's just like, you know, sees us having this really good time, and like all of a sudden just inserts herself into the conversation. And I'll always say that too. Or I'll see like a license plate with her, you know, because I even got this tattooed on my arm, 1111.
Oh, cool.
Her favorite
I love
angel
that.
numbers.
Yeah.
And it's one of my best friend's birthdays. And anytime, you know, that stuff comes on, or I see a license plate, I'll be like, Samantha's entered the conversation now. Like, she'll just be like, yeah, Mom, tell them that I'm here. Just remind everybody that I'm still very much here.
Do you ever see her in like butterflies, or like a feather falling down, or leaves, or
the robin birds?
Oh, the robin.
Which is so funny. The robins. When she first passed, there was a robin that used to come and would sit on my neighbor's house on the top across the street. And I'd be like, you know, coming outside, meeting with people would be coming to the house, and I'd just sit on the front porch, and then she'd just come and sit and watch me. And I'm like, I know it's you. I'm like, I know it's you. But yes, the butterflies. I got butterflies too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love those.
One for my daughter and one for my best friend. My two little butterflies.
Two butterflies. I love that.
But yeah, I feel like I get signs from both of them all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's, yeah, I feel like I get signs from them all the time. And I do feel like, you know, for moms, that they can connect with their children. They're the ones that would have the easiest time to connect. It's just a matter of focusing, you know, and understanding that, sure, that's not going to be this, like what you and I are doing, but there is like a language between here and spirit. Spirit is not far from here.
No, I agree.
I mean, it is literally that thin veil. I know
right
you
here.
and I talked about that.
Right here. Yeah.
I decided to sit in Sam's room while we were doing this.
Oh, are you in her room right now?
Tell you how I could just feel her sitting in this room. I helped her hang these this ivy that she loved in her room. So I was like, no, this will be perfect. I'm gonna do the podcast and talk to Patti about Sam in her room. And she's very much here. And I think she's really enjoying just being, you know, the topic of conversation. She was an introvert, you know.
Oh, really?
In real life, yes, which is really great. But she's more like my husband. That's like where they really bonded. You know, I'm the one that really wants to talk all the time. Where I think is, I hear her so much when I'm talking and asking her questions. And then I'm like, I don't feel like you're talking to me. And then I hear this like, Mom, if you would just shut up, you'll hear me.
Right.
Like,
listen.
Like, you have to stop talking. You keep talking and asking me questions. You're not even giving me a minute, you know? So now it's like, I'll be driving and I'll talk to her. And then I just wait. And kind of like what you were talking to me about the automatic writing, like how you can just ask a question and then just write whatever comes out. And I'm like, wow, this works.
It really works. The morning pages, like just sitting there writing and you get a lot of answers. It's kind of magical to do that.
Yeah. I definitely feel like that.
So it's so cool that you're in her room right now. Did you leave it the same way that she left it? Is it still the same way?
The laundry is still sitting in the basket.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Like, I mean, she's got like dirty socks and
they're still there after a year.
It's been 19
just keep them
months,
there.
and I'm like,
19 months.
I've come in here, I've gone and just like, you know, straightened up. But yes, like the sheets are still on the bed. The comforter is still on the bed. Everything's pretty much, you know, like how she had it. Like I keep saying, I want to get take her clothes, and a friend of mine wants to take some of like her t-shirts or sweatshirts
No,
and make
keep
them.
them. I would keep them if I were you. Yeah.
Well, she wants to make a blanket out of it.
Oh.
And like make like some kind of, and I'm like,
yeah, I want to keep them here. Yeah.
Yeah. Her drawers are still the same. Like everything's
the same. When was her birthday?
May 31st.
May 31st. Okay.
Yeah. And that's another really crazy thing is like watching all her boyfriend is going to be 19. He's 19. He's going to turn 20.
Wow.
Like he's a sophomore in college. And I'm like, Christy and I had daughters at the same time. They were only 4 months apart, and watching Raylan grow up and Sam's cousin Haley grow up is at Ole Miss right now. And it's just like, it's so weird seeing these people that are like aging. And I'm like, Sam's just going to be like 17 forever. In
your head. Yeah.
But what's really crazy though, too, Patti, and I don't know how you feel about this, but it's, to me now, Sam being in the spirit world, I don't see her as a 17. Like I almost think of her as this 30-year-old woman. Mm-hmm. Right? And I don't know, because I remember your sister's passed. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's like, I don't know. I don't know if, because there's a lot of moms that I know whose children died when they were like 4. Yeah. So then I'm like, that's just a whole different thing. Because at least I knew Sam's personality. Like I knew the things about her. I don't know. It's a really strange thing to think of, because I just think of her as this really wise spirit now. Like the way that she talks to me, that I'm like, she was very smart and very wise as a child, like the things that she would come up with, or how she would say things, or how she felt about things, was like, make you think.
She'd think about it.
And I feel like now, when I'm asking her about like, what am I supposed to be doing? And she'd be like, you're worrying about the wrong things. I hear her telling me like, you're worrying about the wrong things, or you're going in the wrong direction. That I'm like, how do you know that? You were so young, like 17 is not that old to know this much. But I'm like, I don't know, maybe when they get to the spirit world, they're back to who they truly are. So they're just, it's a different,
different thing.
They're a different being.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how, I've read that book, Journey of the Souls, and that's kind of where they go down that path about it. Where when you return to spirit, but the people who are still on earth, when they come back, it's like they see you and you can present yourself to however you were, that they would remember you, right? Yep. From that time on earth. And then you're presented with like, oh, but we've been all these other people this rest of these lifetimes.
Yeah, I was talking to my yoga friend today. We do yoga once a week together, and she was saying that there's a saying about Maya Angelou. Yeah. That she writes, she's a poet. And somebody was saying, how can you do that? And how can you walk into the room and just handle that? And she goes, oh, I'm walking with all my ancestors. They're all here with me. And I was like, we can look at it like that. Like Sam's with you wherever you go. And so is anybody else in your family or your ancestry that passed away. They're all here cheering you on.
For sure. They call it your team of light.
Team of light. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The team of light.
You have your spirit guides. It's like when talking with my friend Wendy, the Akashic record reader, her saying about everyone has assigned, spirit guides, and it's like Sam would not necessarily be, we always want to say like, oh, when we lose a loved one, they become your guardian angel. It's like, no, they don't really become your guardian angel. You've already had your team of light, but they do become, somebody that's like on that team, maybe not necessarily as a spirit guide, but they're still on that team of light, like your soul group, I think is
your soul
what
group.
They call it.
Yeah.
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 But yeah. So yeah, I think in that sense of, wanting, I think that for me at this point, I would really want more moms to know, like, you can make a choice. of still finding purpose, still finding a reason to get out of bed, and that your child does not want you moping around, and you're not making them proud to be moping and saying like, see how sad I am. Look how devastated and grief stricken I am. That I'm always like telling moms, like, it's quite the opposite. You're going to feel your child's presence more when your vibration is high, which the only way of getting your vibration higher is to be in that state of joy and happiness and positivity. And it's like, you have to find your way there. And that's where, our children and our loved ones are. They vibrate on that highest frequency, of love. And that's the only way. I mean, that's, how it's been for me, for sure.
Well, I remember when my dad died, my daughter was just a baby. And I remember thinking, Dad's going to finally know who I am now because they can see everything. So it's like, now we can see, And,
exactly.
So I think that it's just more personal when they're in the spirit world because they're not human. So none of the things that matter down here matter to them up there. And it's pretty fascinating to think about, but it's way beyond what I can fathom. But I'm sure that it's a lot less scary to go there when I have two sisters and my dad there. So I was like, okay, well, it wouldn't be too bad to go because I'd be with them at least,
Right.
So what did you not want to hear from people? I think you said something like, if they say she's in a better place, I'm going to get so mad or something. Like, what don't you want to hear from people when something like this happens? What do you want them to do to help you? Or how can they help you in this kind of situation?
Yeah, I feel like, it's nobody knows what to say. I mean, because what do you say?
Right.
It's, and I think for me, that was what I would prefer people is to just go, I have no word. Like, there's no words. Right. I don't know what to say.
Right.
I'm sorry. I mean, everybody wants to say I'm sorry, but it's like, what are you sorry for? Or I'm sorry for your loss. It's like, these things are just, I mean, I had one person, it was a close friend of mine. And when she saw me for the first time, she said to me, I heard about Sam. I never got a chance to meet her. Can you tell me what was she like?
Mm.
And I remember just going, this is what people should be doing.
Yep.
Like, this is how we should be approaching it, but then you get people that knew her and that, that they're like, I don't know what to say. And it's like, that's okay too. You don't need to know what to say, Yeah, I mean, there's so many moms and I have gotten together and have said, like, I think somebody needs to write a book about like all the things don't tell a mom.
Right.
My daughter's in a better place. No, she's not. That's not, and especially if I can understand if like a parent or a friend or a child is like suffering.
Right.
Of course, like with cancer or something, and they're suffering. Like, yes, of course, that they got to drop the body and go to a better place. But like, I don't want to think of her as like in a better place. Like, this is the place that she's supposed to be with us. Yeah. But yeah, I think, I've had people even reach out to me that are like, oh, one of my friends, son was just, in a car accident and died. Like, what should I do? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know.
Just go be there with her. Yeah.
I'm like, if you can be near them and sit with them and just be there and let them know that you're there. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to take the pain away.
No.
You just let them talk or just, hold their hand. Yeah, because like I said, it's like everybody's different. I wanted a lot of people to be around, but then I wanted them all to go away. And then when they all went away, I wanted them back. It's such a, it's like, oh my gosh, you just feel like, your brain is crazy. You're like, I don't know what I want. And people are like, can I bring you dinner? And it's like, sure. And then it's, what do you need? I can't tell you how many people would text me. What do you need? I'm like, I would rather that somebody said, do you want me to bring dinner tonight or tomorrow night?
Yeah.
And just bring something. You don't even have to, who cares if I like it or
Just
not?
come.
Just bring it.
Yeah,
There's
just bring
probably
it.
going to be people here that could eat it that now I don't have to take care, kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also strange when you get to like, it's been 19 months, it'll be 2 years in February and people say like, oh, the second year was a little harder than the first. And I'm like, how can the second year be harder than the first? Like, and I don't know if I would say that's true for me. I think a lot of people stop talking about her, but I don't. Mm-hmm. I don't ever stop. I think in every conversation I'm ever in, I bring her up all the time. I don't care if I make people uncomfortable by talking about her.
Good. Just keep doing it. Keep doing
I'm not that person that's going to be accommodating you because
Right.
It might be awkward for me to bring up my daughter. Yeah. So, we'll be talking and I'll say something like, oh yeah, Sam used to always, do like they're talking to me about their kids and then I'll bring up Sam and I talk about her in the present tense. And I can tell some people are just like, oh, I'm so glad you brought her up because I wanted to, say something, but I didn't want to bring it up if you were like, if you weren't talking about it. And I'm like, she's never not on my mind. And I think that goes, I think I can speak for all moms. It's worse to not say their name. Like we want you to talk about them. We want you to ask about them or make a reference to your kid was, the same age that Sam was when whatever it is. It's like saying her name is comforting to any mom to be able to talk about their kid.
Definitely.
I do know there's a lot of times where it's like when it first happened, everybody wanted to know what happened, which is totally normal. I get it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, you don't text a mom what happened.
Right.
I'm not reliving this with you.
Yeah.
I'm not texting, That was really difficult when people would do that. And I just ignored them.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't even respond. And obviously if it's like a close friend and, they're going to call me, we're going to talk, but don't text me or Facebook message me. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Can I ask you what happened? No, you don't know. You can't.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand the human body and it's like telling the story. Even like when I was sharing the story tonight, it's like I could feel my body going through the tragedy again. I could feel like the stuff that's like my nervous system going, oop, we're getting dysregulated again. Mm-hmm. But I've learned how to then tell my body everything is okay. I can just talk to it, put my hands at rest, put my legs, stop shaking, kind of a thing. Like I've learned how to move through that stuff and be able to share my story, because I think I'm going in that direction of where I want to share this story with more people. So
you're so brave, and I'm sure she and your son both are really proud of you for talking about this because it's not easy. I was feeling like, what am I going to say? And I'm just so impressed by you that you can talk about it, and I want to keep her alive. I want to talk about her whenever you want. And
I know, and I love you for that. I love you sending me text messages, and I love that you and I connected like this.
Me too.
And being able to, you inspired me. It's like I was not wanting to write, and you and I had talked about writing a book and just start writing. And I was like, I'm not going to do this. And then after talking with you, I was like, okay. And I can feel Sam when I'm writing, so present. She's so present when I'm writing. And I was like, I give you credit, Patti. You inspired me to do that. So
well, my sister...
I want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. My older sister inspired me to read The Artist's Way, and my friend Johanna too. And I was with Johanna today, and at the end of our yoga, we do like yoga, like a meditation. And I was thinking about reading something today, and so I had her read it to me while I was laying down. And afterwards, when I came out of it, she's like, I feel like Sam was saying, thank you for doing this with my mom. And she got tears and she welled up, and I was like, That is so cool.
Oh man.
And
Yeah.
and Johanna said, if this is real, I want to see 3 angels because she needs proof. So she opened up her eyes. There was a dove right outside my bedroom on a wire.
Oh my
It just
gosh.
came and flopped. It might have been a pigeon, but I think it was a dove. And then she saw wings that I had up on my shelf. And then when I was laying there, I kind of felt like I was flying over a mountain. I saw this like lush green mountain with water. And so that was the 3. And so we kind of connect that way when we're together. And I thought that was really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
So she says she felt like Sam was saying, thank you for doing this for my mom. And then she says, if this is true, show me 3. And then she'll pick something to say. I love that. I'm going to start. I almost feel like that's what I've been doing when I know, that's what I'm saying. I just like my whole body just got goosebumps. That I think I almost feel like Sam is going, thank you, Patti, because this is how we're learning to communicate. Because I've been kind of doing that where I'm like, okay, so if this is really the direction I'm supposed to go and like, give me a sign. And no joke, I'll get a car that pulls in front of me and their license plate will be 444. Like I have certain numbers that like are Sam. And then like my nephew is 555. My older brother's son passed away in 21. And then my best friend, Corinne, hers is 1222. It was crazy because it was the time of death for her. It was like 1222. I see 1222
all
everywhere.
the time.
And it's so funny in that it's like, I'll be like, okay, if this is true, Corinne. And then all of a sudden, like, I'll see a license plate or a time like on a podcast that I'm watching. And I'll like look down and it'll say, you're at 12 minutes and 20. It's like, so those things, I think it's just really good that I got a reminder.
Yeah, the spirit world.
How you do it.
Yeah, the spirit world's pretty interesting. It's creative,
Very.
It can be really creative, but we have to listen.
Yes, I think that's so beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story with me.
Yeah, and then a couple weeks ago at church, the minister was talking about a bunch of different things. I forget exactly what it was, but at the end he said, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come.
But he said, not in this life. It's in the next life.
Yeah.
Like things can be better now, but the best is when we pass over and we're with them. And I believe that because I after my birth sister died 8 years ago, November 7, I went to a Bible study and they were teaching about heaven. And my friend Kathy was always saying, come to Bible study. And I never would. But then when they were talking about heaven, I said, okay, I'll go. And they said, when you die, you go to God. But you don't get a new body till the second coming, if you believe that. And so no one really knows what happens to you after you die. So you could turn into the robin or a feather or a spider or something. And so we just don't know, you know. But it's I think if we listen, I think we'll find out more and more.
No, for sure. Yeah, when I've spoken to the psychic mediums, they explain like the electromagnetic field and how they can, direct our attention to this butterfly or to this. And it's like the thought of them comes when we see it. And it's like their energy is in that butterfly, or it's like they're able to take, especially animals in the electromagnetic field, like butterflies, to fly near us, or like for us to see the doves, or, that all of a sudden we're thinking of our loved one and then boom, there's a cardinal or there's a robin bird, then you see these things. And it's like, it's like the penny, or like the pennies, right? Where people are like, pennies from our God wings, as they call them, right? It's like, well, the penny didn't fall from the sky. But when we see it on the ground and we pick it up and we think of our loved one, it's like they wanted us to think of them, kind of a thing. So, yeah.
Have you dreamt about her at all? Have you had a dream with her in it?
Yeah. And I had one where right after she passed, it was probably my husband has had what I call soul visits. He has had lots of soul visits with her. I did not have many. I think my sleep is just terrible. So I don't think I ever get to that part where, I'd be able to remember my dreams until recently. But right after she passed, I did have a dream where I was standing with her and I was looking at her, and I'd forgotten that she had passed. And I, turned to her and she's like, "Mom, we can fly."
Oh.
I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Look, just put your hands like this, and just like, she just put her hands, like put her palms facing the ground, and she's all, and you could just lift up." And so I like looked straight ahead, and I remember just going, "Oh my gosh." And I remember that sensation of flying.
Oh, how fun.
It was amazing. And then I woke up and I was like, "Oh my God, I was flying with Sam and I forgot to hug her."
Oh.
And then I kept asking for her to come back to my dreams, and she didn't for the longest time. And then there was a time, I want to say it was probably after a year. I want to say it was probably like around February or March, where I had a dream and I was staring at her and she was staring at me, and she was looking at me like, "Why are you so sad?" And I remember going, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. And again, waking up and going, why can't I remember so that I could, and John remembers. So he has these dreams where he sees her and she's like, he sees her from behind. And then he'll be like, "Oh my God, that's Sam." And he'll say her name and she'll turn around and she'll go, "Dad, what? It's okay." And he hugs her and he's just like, and he's like, "I don't want to let you go. I'm not letting you go." And she just always tells him like, "Dad, it's okay.
I'll be back."
And I'm like, but last night she was in my dream last night. And I was looking at her and I just was like, and she's like, "Why are you sad?" And I'm like, "Your sister died. But you're the sister," like, and I remember just being so confused, like, what does this mean? And she was just like, she said to me though, like, "You're going in the right direction," or like, "You're doing it right." Or she said something like that. And I was like, wait. And it was again, the impulse of, I'm supposed to be doing something and I'm not doing it. I don't know what it is. And then I woke up and again, I was like, I just want to hug her. I
She's
want to
keeping
just
you
like
going.
have that sensation.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, I just want to have that sensation again, if like where I can remember, but I just remember seeing her last night and she just was looking at me like, "Yeah, Mom, you're good."
That's awesome.
You're good.
I love that. That's really special.
Yeah.
Well, I wish
So
I could have met
definitely
her,
could.
but I will one day, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think so. I think I think we're all in the same soul group.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you meet people. It's like you and I talked. I mean, you obviously were friends with Christy first, and it was like you and I talked, and I'm like, I've known you my whole life.
That's how I felt. And everybody that's been on my podcast, they're all my people now. You're part of my family. And I'm going to write a book.
That.
I've been wanting to write a book forever, but I'm going to write a book about everyone that I had on my podcast and put it all together. And I'd love to have a big party someday. We all get together and talk. And I think we can all help each other in different ways because you need people. We need people. Like the other day, my sister-in-law came over and said, "Maybe your headaches are tension headaches." And I was like, never even thought of that. I thought it was something else. But we need people. We need people in our life. We need to be together. And I'm sure Valerie and Lori and Sam were together. Maybe my dad and your cousin or your best friend. They were probably all rooting for us today and proud of us for being able to talk about this.
100% agree. For sure.
So did you want to say anything else? Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Well, I
don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to end this with what my mother said. It was just before my sister died and we were coloring, and my mother colored. We were coloring, all of us were coloring in these coloring books that had good sayings, and it said, "You really are loved just the way you are, more than you know." And you really are.
That.
You really are.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you so much for being so brave to talk about this. And I'm sure you're going to help a lot of people with this. And we're going to keep Sam alive by talking about her.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Okay.
It's been really great.
Have a great night.
All right. Yes,
And I hope you have a
too.
good dream tonight. I hope she's in your dream.
Yes. Thank you. I know. I'm going to keep trying to get that to happen.
Thank you so much. I'll call you later.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Patti.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.